Welcome back to my channel. I'm Dr. Michael DeMarco, and it's been a while since I've recorded a video. I think over a year, and there's a reason for that, and that is the topic of today's video. So today what I wanted to talk about is like, why did I stop YouTube in the first place? About a year ago, I had this idea, I had this inspiration that I was going to get on YouTube and I was going to start building my channel. And I got a few episodes out. So if you're following me, if you're a subscriber, you might have seen them. If not, just like go check them out, because some of the things that I'm going to talk about today are kind of relevant, and you'll actually be able to see like why I kind of stopped being able to and having doing YouTube in the first place. And this is like I felt out of alignment because I was doing these videos, and when I would go and look at myself in the videos, I just like didn't feel good. I didn't look healthy. And I'm still recovering from that. And I'm here supposed to be helping people, with their health, optimize their brain, have better lives, like all of that stuff. And I just didn't feel like I was in alignment. And during the time when I was shooting those videos, I discovered there was a reason for that. No matter what I did, whether I changed my diet, I tried to do, all the biohacking stuff or whatever, and I just couldn't change the way I felt. I like couldn't improve my health. I couldn't change the way that I looked. And I discovered that I was exposed and had been exposed for a long time to toxic mold. And if you know anything about mold, and it's that it can really destroy your life. So one of the things that I work with people on is helping them optimize their brain and helping them make better decisions and helping them gain more energy. And a lot of people think that's just like your mindset and like how you think. But if there's something in your environment that's affecting your actual body, about how it's functioning, it's getting in the way of how how your brain is how the neurons are communicating in your brain with each other. You got to take care of that. And it's going to be really, really, really hard, to do all this manifestation stuff, to transcend yourself, to break the habit of being yourself, in Dr. Joe Dispenza's words. If there's something attacking your physical body, I mean, it's possible, but it's really, really, really hard. And there are much easier ways to do it. So if you've been exposed to mold, or somebody has, share this video with them, subscribe, because at the end of the video, I'm going to share with you my own personal journey about what I actually did to help heal myself. And it's actually very simple. It's pretty easy. A lot of the ways that people detox from mold, it's really hard in their body. The way that I did it, I didn't have any symptoms from the detox process. Actually, I just kept getting better and better. And I still continue to this day, from detoxing myself from toxic mold exposure. So I'm going to just tell you a little bit about how I discovered it in the first place. So I was like in my kitchen, and I found that I just was walking around, and I felt under the floorboards like kind of water. So I decided to like look behind the fridge, and I found that the little part where the fridge connects into the wall for like your ice maker that I never even used in the first place, it had been leaking, and it had been leaking for a long time, and there was just like black everywhere. So I started ripping up everything, and lo and behold, there was mold everywhere. And I kind of knew this for a long time, that, when I was in that place, also my wife, like when we were in that place, like we didn't feel good. We just all of a sudden just like lacked energy and motivation and focus for anything that we wanted to do in our lives. When we get literally stuck on the couch. I mean, you want to blame Netflix, but maybe there's something else going on. Literally stuck on the couch. And when we would leave and we go to other places, we go on vacation, stuff like that, we would just have a lot more energy. And turns out we were being exposed to mold. So we were in the process of leaving that place anyway. So we had it all taken care of. It's all fine now. But then we had to heal from it. So how do you even know? Because I didn't know. If I didn't find that leak, I wouldn't have known that I was being exposed to mold. And that's the thing, like you don't know. And apparently 50% of homes and businesses, I thought maybe there was something in my business, but I got rid of that. I got out of that. And maybe this is why I had to get out of it. I didn't even know. 50% of homes and businesses uh, have some type of water damage, H2O damage. So chances are, if you live, maybe if you're gonna live in a humid place, there's a higher percentage of businesses that have it and homes that have it in places that where people live. So just be aware that this is a very common problem. I mean, it's like literally 1 out of 2 is exposed to it. So it's a very common problem. Some people like Dave Asprey has this trigger, his toxic mold exposure kind of triggered him to start his entire company and everything that he did and all the biohacking stuff. So there's some positive things that can come out of it, but you have to know and you have to be aware and you have to take care of it. So forgive me, I'm gonna like just be looking at my notes back and forth. It's been a while since I've done YouTube, and I know that as I do these, I'm gonna get better and better at it. So I appreciate you for being patient with me and following along. So some of the symptoms, because you can know what's going on. Maybe you don't find the thing that's actually wrong. Like when I in my office, when I used to treat people for like physical medicine injuries and stuff like that, you don't always know exactly what's going on. You don't know. There's not always a test for this specific thing unless you do an X-ray and MRI. But for this, there is no test specifically for mold exposure. So first you have to go by the symptoms. Like what are the symptoms you're actually experiencing? And one of the big ones that I was experiencing is fatigue, chronic fatigue syndrome. So you're not just tired one day, like you're just like across the board. You just don't have energy and you're fatigued and you don't know why. And a lot of things you do to change it don't really change it. You can also have memory problems, which I was beginning to experience. I mean, I've never had a problem with my memory. I've always had a very, very, very good memory. And I was having memory problems. Another thing is mood swings. So mood is something that maybe you don't notice at first yourself, but other people around you notice. Like you're just like very getting triggered up and down across the board. This could be why. Dizziness, trouble concentrating. Maybe you think you have ADHD, but you really don't. Maybe there's something else going on affecting how your brain is actually functioning. Joint pain. Joint pain is another one. Very common. Cough, shortness of breath, things that affect the lungs, digestive issues, skin conditions like rashes and stuff like that, and also liver damage. So if you go on my old videos, you can see that I still have like remnants of it. It's just, my ancestry and my genes. I'm very susceptible to like dark circles under the eyes. But you can see in my videos, even though I had like great lighting and everything like that, like I just had these dark circles under my eyes that no matter what I did, get enough sleep, whatever, hydrate, they just wouldn't go away. And that can be indicating that there's something actually going on with your liver. And I'd have any liver damage, but it's just an indication. And this is actually probably why. This is probably what was going on with me. So all of these things, all of these symptoms I just described, and there are more, but these are the most common ones. The reason why the mold exposure is so bad for your body is because it causes inflammation. And it's actually called chronic inflammation response syndrome, or CIRS. And that is why you have the symptoms with the brain, you have the symptoms with the gut, you can get skin conditions, mood conditions, like all these things. And it can look like a lot of other things. It can look like an autoimmune response. It can look like there's something actually really seriously wrong with you. Or it could look like allergies or whatever, but it all has to do with inflammation. And specifically, inflammation because this specific thing that happens increases permeability of the gut. I mean, the blood-brain barrier, not the gut, probably also the gut permeability, but the blood-brain barrier. And we don't really want things crossing over into our blood that are inflammatory and toxic into our brain, because our brain is something that we can't really feel. Like you can't really feel like what's going on in your brain. You have to kind of look at the symptoms and look how it's overall functioning in your life. That's why they could do brain surgery with, and they do, while you're awake without anesthesia actually on your brain, because you can't really feel your brain. So they want to make sure that when they're doing the surgery, that everything's okay, and they go by how you're functioning. So the fact that it's due to inflammation, it's actually the way that you can medically diagnose this. You can't really go in your blood and find, like, I mean, I guess you could do like a mold test or whatever, but the main way that they're going to find this is by looking at an inflammatory marker in your blood called MMP9. And that's just going to indicate this overall level of inflammation that's been caused from the mold. And here's the thing about the mold toxicity. I was very fortunate that I was able to detox the way that I did detox on my own. But there's 24% of the population genetically that cannot detox mold. So if there are even exposed, and I was exposed for a long time, but if they're even exposed for like a short period of time, what happens is the mold spores enter their system and their body just can't get rid of it. So it can be a problem ongoing for a very, very long time unless they get medical intervention to try to treat it. So what I'm going to say, don't take this as medical advice, even though I am medical advice, even though I am a doctor. I'm not your doctor. This is just what I did personally. And maybe you can take something out of it. Maybe it can help you. But if you are one of these 24% of people, then you have to go and find that out. And you can get what's called a human leukocyte antigen test. And that will tell you if genetically you're able to detox mold or not. Your doctor could do it for you. I'm sure there's some gene testing things online that you could do it. Is it absolutely necessary? No. But if you go through this like very simple protocol and it's like not working, then maybe you need to look into that. So what I did and what I recommend is the first thing, especially if you know that there's some type of mold in your environment, is leave. Get out of the environment, leave. You need to remove yourself from that environment. Otherwise it's going to keep continuing to be a problem. So you can either, I mean, I moved across the country to a place where there's like really no mold. It's very dry here in Sedona, Arizona. It's a place where I wanted to move to a very long time. So maybe this is like the universe kind of pushing me out of there. But if you have to stay there, make sure you use a professional service, or if you can't afford that or whatever, just clean it up. And the way that you clean up the mold, you have to rip out everything, remove everything that has been exposed, whatever you can't remove. Don't use bleach, because a lot of people will use bleach. Bleach apparently can't permeate porous surfaces, which is where all the spores and everything will lie. What you actually have to use is much better for you. It's much safer. And it's a 6% vinegar from the supermarket, from the grocery store. And if you have any mold or anything like that, that's what you should use to clean. So once you are removing yourself from the vector, from the environment, the next thing that I did was I did a fast. And the reason why I did a fast is because a 3-day fast, and you can go, sometimes I'll go up to 5 days. It's because that's one of the things that nutritionally and biologically, your body will go into a state of autophagy, and it will just remove and just kind of kill a lot of the inflammation and the antibodies that are causing inflammation, and remove that stuff from your body. So you're not putting anything that's like going to cause extra stress on the system, extra loading on the system, which maybe you're familiar with over the past few years of this extra loading on the system. And by the way, if you have been exposed to this mold and it's affecting you and you have these symptoms, chances are that your immune system is not as strong as it could be. So I mean, definitely take care of this, because you don't want to get sick from something else and then have it wreak havoc on your body, even though you think you're actually healthy, because maybe you're not. So the next thing I did was clean up my diet, and the diet that I chose to do was a carnivore diet, just animal sources, animal proteins, organ meats, stuff like that. I removed all plants because I actually have a sensitivity to some plants, and I didn't want to put any extra strain on my body while it was healing. So I don't do that now all the time. Like I do eat plants. I try to balance it out, but I make sure that I still have like, organ meats in my diet. Um, and I always have the highest quality sources of animal proteins, which a lot of the stuff today that people are talking about animal proteins and animal source, it's because they use the low quality stuff. They're not doing grass fed, grass finished. Uh, if you don't have to get it from the supermarket, don't. If you can get it directly from a farm, better. The prices are probably going to be better, especially for the higher quality stuff. So I changed my diet to a non-inflammatory diet, the least inflammatory that I know of, which is the carnivore diet. And then I just started getting myself exposed to sunlight 20 minutes a day. If you can't do sunlight, maybe you could do infrared light. And the reason for that is because you want to start stimulating your cells' production of ATP, which is produced by the mitochondria in your cells. And this is the energy powerhouses of your cells. So your cells start functioning more optimally, and taking care and in enacting that healing mechanism that you have that always works without a doubt. You're always, no matter what, if you take a medication or a doctor tells you something or gives you a treatment, you're always healing from the inside out. So anything we can do to optimize that healing from the inside out. And look, sunlight, it's free, it's available. Just limit your exposure time wise, like 15, 20 minutes a day. It's really going to make a huge difference. And especially, I mean, even if you didn't have anything going on, it's going to make a big difference. You're going to make more vitamin D. Your immune system's going to function better. Your hormones are going to balance out and optimize, all from the sun. So one of the other things that I did, supplement that I took, and forgive me, I always say this wrong, chlorella. And it's like a seaweed type supplement, and helps your body detox from like heavy metals and other things, and especially mold. So if you go and you look online, it's very cheap. Just take the associated dosage of whatever your weight is and stuff like that. But I'm not prescribing it, but that's the thing that I took, and it's very safe to use. And then next is exercise and sweat. So like moving, lifting heavy things, that's going to help you balance, like rehab your body. Once you remove the mold exposure, it's going to help you strengthen your cells, balance your hormones, optimize your energy, optimize your flow, everything that's going on in your body. The sweat is one of the ways how your body detoxes. It's how you get rid of heavy metals, and mold apparently really loves heavy metals. So if you can sweat it out, but don't just sweat, like strengthen yourself, strengthen your body by lifting weights. And the last thing is something that a lot of people don't really talk about, especially when it comes to scientists, because it's a little bit more in like the spiritual realm, the woo, and that is like, what was the energetic meaning of this mold exposure? Like, why did it even happen in your life in the first place? And that's coming from a perspective of your world changes from the inside out. Everything outside of you, as above, so below, and the hermetic principles, everything outside of you is a reflection of what's going on inside. So if you're in this house or whatever, and there's like a leaky faucet, and the leaky faucet ends up turning into a moldy faucet, or there's like a leak in your roof or something like that, and that's where the mold comes from, then energetically there's something going on. And my interpretation of that, especially for myself, is that I had these leaks in my energy of things that I thought I should be doing, things that I used to do in my old business that I still had like open tabs on, who I thought I used to be that I still had open tabs on, that I just like wasn't closing. and my subconscious was pouring energy into these other things. And I felt fatigued, not only from the mold, but because I had all these, literally, if you had your computer or your phone, you have all these open tabs open, it's got to run slower. It was not running optimally because I had all these open tabs open. And my energy was just leaking everywhere. And the house that I was living in was kind of reflecting that and trying to tell me, because actually when I first moved in, there was a leak. And I thought I took care of it, and apparently I didn't take care of it. Even though I had an inspection, all that stuff, it just kept happening. And then I had a leak in my car, and these unexplainable kind of leaks were happening because my energy was leaking, because my mind was somewhere else. I thought I should be doing somewhere else, and I wasn't focusing on things like this, like YouTube, and serving my people in the way that I should be serving them. And following my gifts, following my intuition, following my gut, even though it doesn't always make sense. And until I did that, until I made that decision and closed those leaks, then I had to physically close the leak in the house, because actually it did stop before that. But then there was the mold there, and I had to take care of it and get rid of it. It was telling me something about what was going on inside myself. And we have to always acknowledge that everything in our life, there is this energetic meeting, this energetic reflection of what's going on. So sure, we have to take care of the physical, we have to take care of the 3-dimensional, but we also have to take care of the 5-dimensional reasons about why it's even happening in the first place. And that's really it. And this is what I help people on. This is what I've been helping people with. So if you like this video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, share it with somebody who thinks that they're going to get value out of this. I have a free Facebook group. The link is in the description for entrepreneurs and coaches who are just looking to go and break past these invisible energetic blocks of fear, doubt, frustration, so they can go and like live their passion, live their vision without interruption, and get into their entrepreneurial flow state. And I also have a link down there if you're really committed and you're really interested, where you can book a session with me, or just book to apply into my program, where I really go deep and help people with this. But I suggest just joining my free group and downloading content there, subscribe to my channel, because that's all free. And hopefully you got some value out of this. I will see you on the next video.